Hey, everybody. So, to expound upon and clarify on yesterday's videos, more specifically the longer one, when I went without pay from July to September, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was stressed out. Like, where's my money coming from? And I ultimately ended up with the 1964 Jeep Willys. But how I survived during that time was I had savings. That is probably the number one most important thing I would recommend to anybody at any moment. Have a little bit set aside. Now, granted, if I didn't have that savings and I absolutely had to survive, well, I've got food storage. I've got access to water. I know purification techniques, stuff like that. I would still survive. But during that time, I mean, I wasn't hurting at all. So I wanted to make sure to clarify that. And then from September until November, when I also went without pay, same thing. I had money set aside. So essentially, I went from July to November with no cash coming in at all. No money. None at all. Not a single dollar. But then in November, they were able to pay me out for a bit of it. They still owe me a little bit, but not too much. But now I have no means of bringing income in. I'm thinking of some ideas that I might like to do. Lamar had a really good idea, like, hey, build sheds and sell sheds, stuff like that. So we're tossing around ideas. But anyway, I wanted to make sure to clarify. I was not in full-on survival mode during the last 5-6 months. It just wasn't. I had money saved up. And knowing that I was accumulating either money or, like in the case of the Jeep, something that could be traded in return or in exchange of or in lieu of money. So I just wanted to make sure to clarify that. Because that may have looked a little bit confusing or sounded a little bit confusing. Like, wow, he went that long. No money at all. How do you survive? That wasn't the case. Now, we will be covering some topics of how to do that if that does happen. So that we want to kind of get back to the original roots of the channel, and that's something I'm going to be doing. But I wanted to make sure everyone understood during the last 5-6 months or whatever that I literally have not had cash coming in. I had savings. I highly recommend every chance you get, set some money aside. And I'm talking cash. Because we're going towards like a potential digital society and everything. But cash is king. And I don't mean gold, because if shit hit the fan, so to speak, SHTF, and you had to go to your neighbor and ask for food, what are you going to do? Give him a $4,300 gold bullion? That doesn't make any sense. The only way you would ever use gold is at an extremely high level. Even silver, worth about right around $50 an ounce right now. What are you going to do? Give him a $50 silver 1-ounce bullion for a meal? I mean, I guess you would if you had to. But what is that going to give them? They can't spend that. Right now, cash is king. Ultimately, when it all comes down to it, skills are king. What can you do for me that I can trade or barter for? Anyway, and that's ultimately what I did. You know, hey, you owe me all this money. What do you got to exchange for it? Because you can't pay me. And I got the Jeep Willys. So I'm super happy for that. And they're great people, don't get me wrong. They're fantastic people. It's just they literally couldn't afford to pay me for services rendered. So we struck a negotiation to trade and barter. Which really, I mean, for almost all of the existence of mankind, that's pretty much what it's been about. So, anyway, we'll be covering some videos on if full-blown, absolute stuck in the middle of nowhere, whatever, you know, you lost your job, you lost your home, all that stuff, which happens a lot. What would you do? We'll be covering videos like that, okay? So bear with me.